What's the first thing that comes to mind when you hear the words hashgacha pratis? What's your first reaction to those words? What do those words mean? Hashgacha pratis. What does that mean? So you say the English words, divine providence. Some people say, I was talking to two people this week, and I was very surprised. Very knowledgeable people. People know a lot of Torah, and despite their great knowledge in Torah, when I asked them the meaning of the words, they started using platitudes. They started using cliches. They started saying things that everyone says, but they don't even know what they're saying. For example, they were saying it means that there's an order to the world. The world has an order. They were saying that it means that when things happen, it's orchestrated. And they didn't really say the meaning of the words. What does it mean when a restaurant has hashgacha? What's hashgacha in a restaurant mean? Supervision. Yeah. Is it possible that you can give hashgacha pratis to something? Are we capable of giving hashgacha pratis to something? What does hashgacha pratis mean? Is there such a thing? Let's understand what the words mean. Hashgacha pratis means that you take care of something, and you take care of it very specifically. You take care of it very in detail. A father takes care of a child naturally, detailed. The child has all the child needs, emotionally, physically, financially, whatever the child needs. The father is interested the child is taken care of. So when we say that there's hashgacha pratis, that means is that God takes care of us individually and personally. That's the meaning of hashgacha pratis. That there's an order. That there's not things aren't just going by themselves in a haphazard, wild way. Rather, God is watching over me individually. I'm only talking to Shimon over here right now. God is watching me personally. That's the meaning of hashgacha pratis. The same way you take care of your child, you believe and you know and you think and you feel, in the language of King David, Hashem ro'i lo yachsar. God is my shepherd, I shall not lack. That's the meaning of hashgacha pratis. You feel you're not walking by yourself, but someone's holding your hand. That is fundamental to our equilibrium as human beings, and it's fundamental to all of Torah mitzvot. I have a friend who Deborah wrote him a few words. The foundation, I hope I remember the words correctly, this is what I remember. The foundation of Torah mitzvahs in general, and especially according to the teachings of chassidus, is divine providence on each individual literally, and automatically every single thing you do has to be without worry whatsoever. If you don't know what to do, so ask your father, ask your teacher, ask your personal mentor, ask your mentor, or something like that. But everything you do has to be without any worry whatsoever because someone's holding your hand. You're not going by yourself. That's the meaning of divine providence. So this will give us some insight into the subject of our conversation tonight, which is coming from this week's Torah portion. And that is how to emerge out of a real rut, out of a real downfall, out of falling really deeply. What would you describe as the most glorious moment of Moshe Rabbeinu's life, of Moses' life? What was his best moment? What do you think?
Breaking the luchos.
Very good. Filibuster. So yes, you might think it's the Exodus of Egypt, you might think it's getting the Torah, but the very last verse of the Torah is describing who Moses is. The Torah says, you know who Moses is? Moses is the one who broke the tablets. That's the very last words of the Torah. Why is that the number one thing of Moses? That's his best thing. There is a great mistake that we're making. We're serving the golden calf. And Moshe Rabbeinu is able to lift us out of that mistake. And the way he lifts us out of this mistake gives us a great insight into our own mistakes and how to get out of different situations, deep problems, how to emerge from them. So let's begin. Moshe Rabbeinu breaks the tablets, and surprisingly, God tells Moshe Rabbeinu, you should take the tablets, you're going to make new tablets, and take the old tablets, make an ark out of wood, and put the old tablets into the same ark as you're putting the new tablets. Take the broken tablets and put the broken tablets into the ark with the new tablets. Why the broken tablets? Why do we need those broken tablets? They're broken already. And another major question is this. There's a rule in the Torah that ein kategor nasa seneger, which means what is used to accuse cannot be used to defend. That's why on upcoming holiday, Rosh Hashanah, we don't use the horn of a bull to blow the shofar, only the horn of a ram. Why not have a bull? Because a bull is also in the same family as a calf, and the golden calf. We don't want to bring attention to our mistake of the golden calf. A Kohen Gadol, the high priest, when he enters the Holy of Holies, is not allowed to wear golden clothing. Why not? Golden clothing is reminiscent of the golden calf. So, if he walks into the Holy of Holies on Yom Kippur with the golden clothing, what do you say? Kasher or pasul? There's an opinion which says it's not good. Let's do it over again. It's not accepted. What about a book? What do you do if a book is printed? A book is printed on Shabbat. A siddur is printed on Shabbat. Can you read the book? Can you use that siddur to pray with? So Moshe Feinstein writes in one of his responsa, he writes, you're not allowed to use a siddur, a prayer book that was printed on Shabbat. Why? Because ein kategor nasa seneger. You're trying to beseech God for His mercy. You're going to go with something that was against His will, and you're going to use that as a way to ask God for His mercy. Or as in many letters, the Rebbe writes about synagogues who do not have a proper mechitza, they don't have a proper separation between the men and the women, and you're going to the holiest place, you're asking God for help, but you're going in a way that's not giving honor to the one who said how he wants his house to be built. It doesn't make sense. So, similarly, in a wedding, you're building a home for yourself, for your family. You want the home to have a blessing. So you want the wedding to be done in the most prestigious way in the eyes of God, in the most honorable way in the eyes of God. It doesn't make sense that at a wedding you would specifically make the wedding to be in a way that violates the laws of the Torah. But here, we have the opposite. The broken tablets were broken because of the sin of the golden calf. And yet, where are those tablets placed? In the ark of God, in the Holy of Holies. How are the broken tablets, which are obviously about our mistake of the sin of the golden calf, why are they placed in a place of atonement, a place of forgiveness? This is the evidence. This is the smoking gun. Why is the smoking gun placed in the ark? So to understand this, we have to ask a bunch of other questions. How was it allowed in the first place for Moshe Rabbeinu to break the tablets? How was he allowed to do that? You're not allowed to rip. You allowed to decide, I want to rip the siddur, God forbid, rip God's name. On the tablets is God's name. What was he doing over there? And especially if you think about this, it's that every Shabbat there's a prayer that most people in the synagogue know. Not everyone knows all the prayers, but there's one part that everyone knows. Almost everyone knows. It's a prayer for Shabbat. What's the number one prayer on Shabbat that everyone knows? Vayihi bin Aharon vayomer Moshe. What is that word? What does that sentence mean? When the Jewish people go out to travel, Moses would say, "Let God arise and let the enemies be scattered." When they would travel out to fight against their enemies. What was at the front of the Jewish people? They were going out to travel. What's the first thing they do? What's the first thing you're going to need to travel out into the unfriendly territory? What are you going to take with you, Shimon? You're going to fight the enemies. What are you taking with you? Take a bow and arrow. Take a weapon. What was the number one weapon we took? The broken tablets. Not the fixed ones. Not the new ones. Not the second tablet. The broken ones. How does that make sense? The broken tablets. So there's a couple of explanations. We can't do all of them tonight. Let's do a couple. The Midrash says the reason why Moshe broke the tablets was because he wanted to connect with us. He didn't want us standing alone in the court and being accused. He wanted to make a mistake too. He said to God, "If you forgive them, forgive me too. If you don't forgive them, don't forgive me." He wanted to put himself as part of the accused, so that when God would look at him in favor, he would look at us in favor as well. Moshe said, "Chibar nafsho yimayim." I want to connect my soul with them. I want to be in the same status as them. If they're incriminated, I'm incriminated. I don't want to walk free when they're in trouble. So it was out of his love for the Jewish people, he, in the language of Sefer Chassidim, he did something forbidden. He wasn't allowed to break the tablets in order that they shouldn't be castigated alone. Moshe said, better that I should be considered culpable, not everybody. That's how some explain. Moshe was breaking the tablets, and there is a discussion in the Talmud, we're not going to get into tonight, but there are certain situations where the Talmud says, can you do a small sin to protect someone else from doing a big sin? It's not a simple question, and it's beyond the scope of tonight, but that's the attitude, that's the approach of some commentaries. Moshe wanted to somehow do something wrong in the eyes of God, and thus be placed in the same category as us, and God appreciated it. God told Moshe, Yosher Koach. God told Moshe, good job. You want to be connected with them, you want them to be forgiven, and this was something that achieved something. That's one way to understand. Another explanation from Avos Rav Nassan is, when Moshe descended the mountain, he saw the letters jump off the tablets, and said, why should I give them the tablets? They're empty. The letters jumped off. But there's more to the story. I mean, think about this. Moshe Rabbeinu knew about our mistake before he went down the mountain. God already told him in heaven, go down, your people have sinned against me. Go down the mountain. He knew about it before. He should have said, God, what are you giving these tablets for? Here, take them back. So he specifically took the tablets, knowing that we're doing something wrong, and then he goes to break them. Why didn't you just give them back? So there's an explanation of the Rebbe about this we're going to get to. But first, I want to share with you, to understand this, a teaching of the Alter Rebbe. What do you think the number one thing the Kohanim, the priests in the temple, will love to do? They would fight over. I want to do this. You know, every time we have every Shabbat, everyone wants to get called up to the Torah. Some want to get called more than others. Some people walk in the shul and the first thing they do is they're looking at...
Yeah, sometimes some people call more than others.
Some people don't ask.
More equal.
Some people don't ask, and they want it more than anybody else. Some people ask, they get angry, they don't get, but at least they ask. Some people they should have known. They should have. How they did not understand. But Shimon, this didn't start now. It started in the temple, the Beit HaMikdash, in the Holy Hall.
Okay, so now I think better.
But interesting. What do you think the Kohanim love to do? The Kohen would fight over. You know what they would fight over? Amazing. They wanted to clear the ashes. After the sacrifices were burnt, wanted to clear the ashes. There was even a story in the Talmud how the Kohanim are walking up the ramp, and it's like whoever gets to the top first gets to do it. Yeah. One of them knocked the other off the ramp and broke his leg. Yeah.
Yes, Bible?
So they made rules.
Push each other off the ramp.
They had to make a raffle for it because it was getting violent. Wow. They loved it. But questions like this, I mean, when your wife asks to take out the trash, are you running to it in the same way? Like, it seems like that the ashes top of the temple aren't in the same status as the most other things done in the temple. There was this boy studying in Lakewood in the yeshiva, and he just got married, and he came to the head of his yeshiva. He says, "There's a problem. My wife wants me to take out the trash, and I told her I can't do it because I'm a Torah scholar, and as a Torah scholar, it's not befitting my honor that I take out the trash. So I don't know what to do exactly because it's important to her because it's hard for her to get up in the morning, get dressed, and to throw out the trash. And I can't throw out the trash because it's against the honor of the Torah. So what should I do?" Shiva says it's a big problem. Let me think about it. Next morning, 7 o'clock in the morning, who knocks on the door? The head of the yeshiva. He says, "What are you doing here, Rabbi? I can't take out the trash." No, it's not. You're too prestigious to take out the trash, so I'll do it instead. So this is the question, though. Why is it so important to take out the ashes? What does taking out the ashes mean? Even more, Talmud says that there was 10 miracles that happened every day in the temple. One of the miracles that happened, that the ashes were placed in the side of the altar, and they were swallowed in the ground. They were swallowed in the ground. Why is that so important? I mean, the ashes, why should they have such a big miracle happen to them? Another interesting thing is, every other item in the temple, there's a rule called me'ilah. Me'ilah means you're not allowed to take an item from the temple and use it for your own personal usage. If you do, it's considered a desecration, a violation of holy things. But once the mitzvah is done, then it can be used. The ashes are the exception. The ashes are the exception, and even after the mitzvah is done, the ashes remain holy. Why do they remain holy? So, to understand this, I'll tell you a story. There was a group of college students that visited the Rebbe once, and they were very insolent and asked all kinds of questions that chassidim don't usually ask. And one of them asked the Rebbe the following question. I see inspired you should take out the zevel. So I want to ask the Rebbe, does a Rebbe have an eraser on his pencil? His question was very pointed. He was like, I'm hearing, they're telling us about you that you're, like Superman. Do you have an eraser on your pencil? Do you make mistakes, in other words? So the Rebbe said he has an eraser. A Rebbe does have an eraser. And he said because a Rebbe goes higher and higher. In other words, if I am davening the same way I'm davening yesterday, I'm missing something. If I had the same amount of Avos Yisrael today that I had yesterday, I'm missing something. If it's just like an artist. If an artist is painting the same way he did yesterday, he's missing something. If you ask all these rock stars, Avram Fried says, I cannot listen to my old music. I like his old music actually better, but he says, my old music, I can't listen to it anymore. Because he advanced, he made his music much more sophisticated and much better. My old music I can't listen to. A carpenter, I used to make this, but now I make this. I can't look at that. That's inferior. So when a child tells his mother, my pants are too small, what does the mother say? Wow, fantastic. That means you grew. So that's the idea of ashes. Ashes are dirty. Ashes need to be removed. But what do ashes mean? Ashes means that there was once a fire here. If we look at ourselves, and we see in ourselves, I'm not happy with the way I'm davening, what does that say about me? That says about me that I know what davening is about. I know that it could be more. I know this could mean more. If I'm not happy with my performance of my shlichus that the Rebbe empowered me with, what does that say about me? That says that I get something about what the relationship is supposed to be like. I get something about what the mission is. If I'm complacent and I say, oh, it's okay, I'm doing fine, everything's wonderful, that means I'm missing some fire in my life. If I feel regret, if I feel there's something more to be done, that shows there's a fire in me. So where does your feeling of ichiness come from? Your ichiness comes from your fire. The ichi feeling you have, I could be doing so much more. The Alter Rebbe says you have to know that comes from your fire. The ashes come from the fire. There's another kind of ashes. The Torah says there's something called the raising of the ashes. The removal of the ashes is called the raising of the ashes. But there are also ashes that were brought outside the camp. There is a oivei, which just leads to depression. Oivei. And that the Torah says take outside the camp. Giving up hope, feeling hopeless, feeling like oivei, feeling just sighing, and how Yom Yom, the Rebbe writes, one action is better than 1,000 sighs. Saying, oi, 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 1,000 times, it's hopeless, it's hopeless. I'll never forget, there was a boy I learned with before his bar mitzvah, and he said, he had to memorize a certain thing for his bar mitzvah. And he said thousands of times, it's so hard, it's so hard, it's so hard. If he would have said the words he's had to read, the amount of times he said it's so hard, automatically he would have memorized them. But it's so hard, it's so hard, it's so hard. So when we say to ourselves, it's so hard, it's impossible, that's ashes that need to be removed from our lives. Those are unhealthy ashes. But there are other ashes that lift you up. And this is the greatness of human being. The greatness of a human being is to feel that the goodness he did yesterday is today mediocre. I'm able to cry because I know what I'm crying about. If I'm not able to cry, it means I don't know what I'm missing. So the fact that there is ashes, that means that there's a fire. The ashes are created from the fire. And that's what the Torah says. Amazing. The Torah says is unbelievable. The Torah says, it's very deep. Put the ashes next to the altar. There should be a constant fire on the altar. What's the connection? What is the fuel of a fire to serve God? What makes you not get burnt out? What makes you go higher? Is this ashes. the ashes that you're not okay with where you are, that is a fuel that makes you grow. The fact that you're not satisfied where you are, that is the fuel. That's a consistent fire in the altar. It's produced by the feeling of like I should be better. By the ashes. By this doesn't belong. There's sparks of Hashem in the ashes. There's growth in the ashes, and that's the meaning of the broken tablets. Moshe Rabbeinu saw the Jewish people are in a state they need to have a dramatic change. They made a big mistake. It looks like they're hopeless. They're stuck in the sin. There's no way to get out of the sin. Moshe Rabbeinu needed to demonstrate to them that the most glorious, most beautiful thing, God's tablets, could be broken and something could still be born afterwards. Though after something is broken, something better can emerge. I'll tell you a story. My great-grandfather, I think I told you a story before. My great-grandfather was a school teacher in Neville. His name was Yisrael Nevler. They called everyone by their city, Yisrael Nevler. And there was
in Russia?
In Russia. A little north of Tehran. North of Tehran. North. Little farther north. So I heard this from I heard it from a 90-year-old man who was in his class. His name was Meir Itkin. Meir Itkin told me the story. He said there was a boy in his class that was carrying a bunch of glass cups. They were supposed to sell them in the market. And he dropped one cup and he started to cry. Why was he crying? Because you sell a cup in the market, you can make a kopek, you can make a penny. With a penny, you could buy a piece of bread. You drop the cup, it means less bread. So he started to cry. So Rabbi Moshe Levin tells the little boy, pick up another cup and throw it on the floor. And the boy's like, he's confused. He already messed up with one cup, now he's another. What's he trying to do? So he says, take the cup. And he's a very like a scary kind of guy. He's a tall, big, he's his teacher. Pick up the cup and throw it on the floor. The boy's like, okay. He throws the cup on the floor and he felt better. He broke another cup. What he wanted to do, Rameir explained to me, he wanted his heart to be a little broader. He didn't want to be so timid, so squeamish, so less than. That's the idea of Moshe breaking the tablets. Moshe broke the tablets also, just like a seed, when it's put in the ground, that's when it's able to, and it rots in the ground. That's when it's able to grow. Moshe Rabbeinu breaking the tablets allowed the Jewish people to realize that from this greatest of mistakes, they could emerge. They can grow from this greatest of mistakes. It says in the Talmud, a human being doesn't like using broken cups. A human being doesn't like using broken cups. But God is different to human being. God specifically likes using broken things. What does it say in the Torah? Leiv nishbar v'nidke elkim says that God does not despise a broken heart, a crushed heart. In our prayers we say these words. Harofeh l'shvurei leiv u'mechabe shatzotam. God heals the broken-hearted, and He binds their wounds. The Hasidic masters say there's nothing as whole as a broken heart. It's the broken heart itself which is the cure for the wound, which is the band-aid for the wound. The broken heart itself is where the growth begins. It's because I am upset at where I am that I'm able to grow, and that's a good thing. It's a positive feeling. It doesn't seem positive. It seems like I wish I was somewhere else. But actually, that brokenness is what is the impetus for growth. There is a Jew in Manchester. He has a very prominent synagogue. His name is Rabbi Chazan. He came here a few times to speak. It's the day before Yom Kippur, and he's trying to prepare his Yom Kippur speech. And he's like thinking, speech. This guy is a gifted speaker. The guy could talk. I heard him speak. He doesn't need any preparation. He could just talk. But he's preparing his Yom Kippur speech. Prepare Yom Kippur speech. I should do something. Yom Kippur is coming. What should I do? I know what I should do. I should go visit Larry. Larry is this elderly Jew in his synagogue, and he lives in some old age home. I should go see how Larry's doing. I haven't seen Larry in a while. Larry's over there. That's what I should go visit Larry. He goes to the old age home. He comes to Larry's room, knocks on the door, and Larry says, "Hey, who's there?" Rabbi Chazan. He's who? Rabbi Chazan. Oh my gosh! He opens the door. Larry is bawling. Larry is bawling. Larry says like this. He says, every day, I say some prayers that I remember. I do some things that I know that Torah says to do. But I'm over here alone. No one's visiting me. I'm here by myself. What's a point? And I was thinking, like, you know what? My life is not really worth it. I better just end my life. I'll end my life. I'll have a few more pills than I'm supposed to. And I'll end it. What am I doing here? What am I doing in this world? That's what he was thinking. And then I said to myself, Yom Kippur is coming. Maybe God does like the fact that I'm here. Maybe my brachas, my moda'ani, maybe my shema, maybe it does, as it says in Tanya, that a Jew is supposed to rejoice with God's joy in things that we do. Maybe God likes it. Maybe it makes God happy. Maybe it is valuable. Maybe God listens to me. Just thinking, maybe not. You know what God? He says to God, if it's important to you, give me a sign. Then he's thinking, what's the sign? If it's important to you, then send Rabbi Chazan to come visit me.
Wow.
So God put this idea in Rabbi Chazan's mind, go visit Larry.
Wow.
This is the something we see in this week's Torah portion. Is the broken tablets. God says, put the broken tablets in the ark, put the broken tablets into the new tablets. It's not just about what looks whole and looks perfect. It's specifically from the brokenness that the greatness emerges. And this we see in our whole history. The whole history of Jewish people, I can look at my own history in my life. Every good decision I made was because I got thrown off a cliff. That's how it was, Baruch Hashem. There is a great power Hashem gives us that comes out from our mistakes. And that's why Moshe broke the tablets. Moshe broke the tablets. That's why the Jewish people go out to war. What makes them go out to war? What makes you go and conquer something new? What makes you challenge the borders? What kind of people challenge the borders? What kind of people go and challenge new frontiers? Not the ones who are complacent with all their great achievements. It's the ones who feel, I'm missing something, I need to do something in my life because I made a mistake. It's those people which are the ones that decide, I need to go, I could do something more. It's not people who are complacent, don't make any great moves in life. It's the Baalei Teshuvah, the ones who feel distant, I need to do something more. So Moshe Rabbeinu broke the tablets, and he gave us a very important message. The message is, we also have broken tablets. What do you do with your broken tablets? You have inside of yourself an ark. An ark in your holy of holies, in your holiest place. You might think in your holiest place in your heart, put whole things there. Put complete things there. Don't put any broken things in the holiest place in your heart. It doesn't belong there. But it's the opposite. The first tablets are placed, the broken tablets are placed in the Holy of Holies. Hashem is telling us that we are in the heart of the story of the coming Mashiach. We, whatever mistakes we've made, we are in the last generation of the exile, the first generation of the coming Mashiach, and we're the ones that our mitzvahs are going to bring Mashiach. We're all going to see Mashiach, as we just prayed in Ma'ariv. It's real. May our eyes see your return to Zion. We're going to see it with our eyes. How are we going to see it? Because Yankel is going to visit Larry, and Shmerel is going to visit Yehuda, and Beryl is going to bring him a hamburger. This is how it happens. Mm-hmm. So, despite the fact that I made this mistake at that, we're the ones going to do it, and we have to. We could do it. We have to realize that we're the ones, and the mistakes that we make are proof that we belong. Not proof. That's it's supposed to be in our ark, in our holiest place. Put the broken tablets. That's what will give you the impetus to. My son was saying, Shimon, you hear him going. Mashiach is going to come. And what makes us go and do the mitzvah to bring Mashiach? It's specifically the mistakes that we made that bring us to a higher place. Take them with you. Otherwise, it's a waste of their sins. This guy came to, I'll conclude with this, Shimon. A guy came to believe it's a Beditchev. He told Beditchev knew this guy. He was like the only guy in the town who wasn't religious. Those days in Europe, everyone was religious. One guy in the town wasn't religious. He said, he tells Rabbi Yitzchak, I heard in the Torah it says that when you do teshuvah, all your sins turn into mitzvahs. It's true. You do teshuvah, you have so many mitzvahs. He says, wait till you see next year. But you know who won? God won. God always wins. Because we're a part of God and it's part of Mashiach in us. L'chaim, l'chaim. Should see it happen immediately. Should realize who we are and where we are. L'chaim, l'chaim.